They say third time's the charm, right? Well, obviously whoever says that never tried cutting dovetails in red oak. Dustin B here, back with my third ever attempt at cutting dovetails by hand. Let's dive in. I watched a video on dovetails from the Make Something channel before this attempt. I'll leave a link in the description. They suggested using a saw guide among other small tips I picked up. I don't have a saw guide, but you'll see me using my small combination square to ensure straight cuts. I thought that was part of my problem last time, so I figured that might help. For this attempt, I decided to graduate from pine to hardwood. But instead of using something reasonable like poplar, I chose to dial it to 11 and use some red oak scraps. I didn't realize I'd made a mistake even before I started. I've worked with red oak before, with power tools. Turns out it's got a reputation for being difficult to work with hand tools. What a great idea for someone who's middling at best when it comes to sharpening tools, and almost a complete newbie at cutting fancy joinery. Seriously, this video is almost as long as the last one, which contained 2 separate attempts. It literally took me twice as long to cut this one set as either of the previous attempts. Now I know I should stick with something more reasonable, like poplar, and also make sure I sharpen my chisels before each attempt. I also wonder if the saw I'm using is way too fine-toothed for a wood this dense. I decided to mark the lines for the pins on both sides of the board in pen. This seemed to help my cuts come out straighter. It also makes it much clearer on camera. Anyway, this attempt became more of an exercise in videography than in successful dovetails once I realized how difficult the red oak would be. I just got a new Panasonic Lumix G7 and I wanted to experiment with it before switching to it full-time for my next big project. My next goal is to make sure I have autofocus turned off so the camera stops refocusing on my arm instead of the workpieces. One of the reasons I went with the Panasonic was because of the flip-out view screen. Hopefully you notice it makes it much easier for me to line up shots in this video than it did in my first video. My first 2 tries to assemble the joint were way too tight, so I had to spend quite a bit of time trimming everything to fit. If you have any good tips on the final fitting of dovetails, or you know of any good videos, please leave a comment so I can try to improve on this for the next attempt. Overall, I am happy with how these dovetails came out for just my 3rd try. They don't really look too much better than the last set, but the fit is much more snug, and I'm now confident enough to keep using hardwood instead of pine. Oh, and some other really good advice that I should have followed. If you nick yourself while you're working, take the time to stop and clean up, even if it's not that bad. I really put the red in red oak with this project. This has been my 3rd attempt at cutting dovetails. I'm working on some other projects, but I'll be giving these a shot around once a week, so feel free to subscribe or follow me on Instagram if you'd like to see what's coming next. Thanks for watching!